Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network. Dick Hanna, believe in nice.
Two receivers out to the left, two to the right. Boundary side of the field, back to throw again. Dante with time down the middle. He's got him open. Got it. And Johnson with a catch inside the 5. And they're going to give a touchdown. His knees did not go down. Jory Johnson with a great catch. He stabbed that with one hand and brought it in. Looked like it was going to be overthrown. What a catch by Jamari Johnson for the touchdown.
A comprehensive recap of today's game with the players and coaches you want to hear from.
Touchdown, Oregon.
Up-to-the-minute traffic to get you home. And our game day crew of Andy Johnson, Dusty Hara, and former Duck star Anthony Newman joining the show. Oregon Ducks football on the Fan is brought to you by Coors Light, Dick Hanna Dealerships, Philbrook Law, Video Only, Bellagio's Pizza, Langdon Farms Golf Club, Wilsonville Toyota, Mountaintop Metal Roofing, Victor Rico's Mexican Food, Legends Casino Hotel, Mods PDX, and Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. The Dick Hanna Dealerships Post-Game Scoreboard Show on 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app starts now. Here's your hosts, Joe Fisher and Jordan Schultz.
Down go the Dukes at the hands of the Ducks. 51-34 victory for the Oregon Ducks in this first round of college football playoff action for the University of Oregon over James and Madison down at Autzen Stadium. I am Joe Fisher III. Welcome into the Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show. Got Jordan Schultz across the faux marble table.
On to the quarterfinals, baby.
On to the quarterfinals is right. The Orange Bowl taking place on New Year's Day against Texas Tech. But we got a lot to get into about this game. Get your reactions out there as well. We are, I think, officially now also live on YouTube. Yes, live on YouTube and Twitch for the kids. You can jump on the Odyssey app. 105.1 The Fan, 1080 The Fan. As, again, Oregon wins 51-34. And, Jordan, it just seems like this was a classic get out to a big early lead, take care of business. As Jordan he's choking to death.
Wrong time to lose my voice. Sorry about that.
He's choking to death due to how good of a win this was. It made him sick. It was a disgusting game.
I think he's choking for all those bettors that lost the spread.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I know Jordan this morning on Sports Saturday took Oregon to cover for Who Do You Love? And there was a point in the game where I think that JMU went for 2. And they did not get it. And I was like, oh, okay. Oregon's still covering. We're there, all right.
Everything was good.
And then JMU got that one at the end there. But more important than the cover, they got the win. They got the dub. Again, a situation where I think it was just kind of like some of these away games against lesser opponents. You go to a Northwestern, you go to Purdue, you go take on a Montana State at home or something like that. It's one of those. Get in there, get the dub, get the hell out, get ready for the next game. But still, just a very interesting game on offense. Special teams had a great day. Defensively, I'm sure that we're going to get into it there.
Oh, yeah.
But just got to be happy that there were no shenanigans in this one, and that Oregon ended up getting the big win, 51-34.
To start, Autzen, I think we were worried, Joe, about the ticket prices kind of being a little low. $60 at one point today to get in for pretty much, I would say, decent seats anywhere around Autzen Stadium, but it was as loud as I've ever heard it at times. It looked packed. Yeah, a lot of people grabbed up those cheaper tickets, I'm assuming is like a last-minute Christmas gift or Hanukkah gift, and just said, you know what? We're going. And Oregon, at least in the first half, Joe, they showed up, man. Those first 5 offensive drives looked like NCAA football 26. That was video game living, as I like to call it, for Oregon. And we can get into the issues that we saw on defense, especially in the second half. And I know there are going to be some people that say, hey, there's a second and third stringers. We were talking before the show started, Joe. We did see number 1 still on the field, on defense for Oregon in the second half. So are there concerns? Yes, but they showed a lot of good stuff today. I want to celebrate that and celebrate the fact that Oregon is playing in their first ever Orange Bowl, and they did it because they were able to spread the love on offense. And make plays when they needed to on defense. They hurried the quarterback for James Madison a lot. They stuffed, at least in the first half, their run game. So I don't know. I saw positives from Oregon at times today on defense, but definitely some things to get into. But man, I am so stoked for how Oregon did look at times. It really gives me hope. And at least at the end of the first half, Joe, I thought they could beat anybody. At the end of the game, I think they can compete with anybody. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a classic example of let's go up by 35 points halfway through the third quarter and then essentially coast our way to get this thing over with. And it was 48-13 at one point, and JMU was able to add another 21 points to Oregon's 3 points from that point on in the rest of the game. But what mattered is they had 48 points to their 13 through those first 2.5 quarters there. And yeah, you mentioned it, 5 straight touchdowns to start the game, 5 first drives of the game, touchdown.
Very short drives, by the way.
Touchdown. Oh yeah, I mean at one point it showed the first half play difference and the difference in time of possession. JMU ran twice as many plays and had twice as much time of possession, but Oregon was up 27-3 or 34-3 at that point. So just a dominant first half where, hey, if you do that, if you take care of business that early in the game, then you are in a position to coast to the end and just get to the triple zeros on the clock and get the victory, which is what they did. Offense looked potent at times. Put up over 500 yards of total offense. Again, 514 total, 201 rushing yards, passing yards, 313. Again, offensively and special teams, I think both of those units absolutely stepped up to the plate. Defense, a lot to work on. This is the first time this year that they've given up 30 points. This was the most amount of yards that this defense had given up in a single game. The most they'd given up in a single game was 392. They gave up 509 yards today.
Yeah, that's kind of the negative that I was talking about. And we can ask Anthony Newman specifically, like, if that's just a scheme issue on Oregon's end or if it's because there were more of the twos playing. Like, that's definitely some deep analysis that we'll get because I'm interested to see really how this does translate specifically in the second half to an Orange Bowl matchup with Texas Tech. I think that's really the biggest question that Oregon fans have on their mind.
Or if it does at all, you know, that's
exactly.
That's the one thing where it's like one of those, like, dude, they were like some fans and some pundits will look at this and be like, dude, they were up 48-13.
Yeah.
You
got to coast.
They were up 35 points with a quarter and a half left to go.
5 days before Christmas.
They were fine, all right?
Yeah. They got other things on their mind.
And considering also just, you know, who they were playing against, what they have at stake, the layoff that they had. I mean, they didn't play for, 3 weeks?
Yep.
I mean, a lot of factors that come into it, but it was definitely a very convincing first quarter or first half and half a quarter in that third. And again, when you put up 48 points and you have a 35-point lead, then you can, coast your way to a victory. I know Dan and the rest of the crew, though, are not going to let them let it down that they gave up this many points and yards to a team like this.
Yeah, we'll hear, I'm sure, from Dan Lanning later in the show, his post-game interview with our own Dusty Hara here on 105.1 The Fan Sports Network. He talked about the lack of consistency for Oregon, right? And I think Jerry and Jorgie both said it, and actually so did Brandon Henson before the show started when I came in. A tale of two halves. That really was the story of today's game. And Oregon, like we said, like they looked like they could beat anybody, firing in all cylinders. Frankly, on both ends, like that first drive for James Madison, Joe, you kind of hope that as a Duck fan that those opening drives for the Dukes are kind of the best that they have, right? That represents the most success that they're going to have on the day. And in the first half, we saw that when the other guys came in, at least at times in the second half, we didn't. But man, I do still think, an 8-9 minute drive to start the game. Like James Madison did give their best effort, and we got to give credit. Like I was kind of impressed with their fans that did make the trip cheering at the end of the game, just because, hey, they played hard, and I do want to give them credit. We all bagged on them a lot, and they actually showed up and scored some points. And like you said, Joe, the first 30-plus defensive effort on Oregon's end against them, I mean, credit to JMU. They showed up. People didn't think they would, and obviously the 3-week layoff that you were just talking about didn't affect them either.
No, at least it took them, 2.5 quarters for the layoff
got
not to
there.
affect them again. Yeah, there were some second stringers, third stringers that were there at the end. There were also some guys who have had playing time this year that have been out there, that have gotten reps. I've seen it on the YouTube chat. Is someone saying Ducks should be embarrassed? Their second stringer should be more than a match to keep the score low. Play Soppy in the second half against Tech. Tech will put belt to ass. And again, I think this is that's a good awakening moment for this team. Have this moment, this experience against the James Madison. Don't have it against the Texas Tech. And I think that's why a lot of fans wanted to play this game rather than being getting a first round bye. Playing a great team right off the bat. You can have a game like this, an opponent where you can win big, but still put things on film where you're like, we can't do this, we can't do that, we need to get better here. Like this is, I think, exactly what the Oregon Ducks needed to obviously get a win, advance, but put some things on tape for you to know that you can and cannot do for next round.
To that commenter's point, though, I do think that at times Oregon has played down to their opponents. And I'm not saying that happened here, but I think James Madison had the better half, right, in the second. And a lot of Oregon fans did not expect that. It is really worth asking, is that a sustainable performance, as we'll talk with Anthony and Dusty about, going against Texas Tech, or does none of that translate? There's no way of knowing, what these guys are going to do in this situation that Oregon has never been in before. And Dan Lanning, once again, is learning from coming off of that crazy long layoff last year and losing to Ohio State. And I will say it was nice to watch Oregon score almost as quickly in the college football playoff as Ohio State did on them last year.
Well, let's get to one of these guys. How about Anthony Newman first? We will get him on the horn to get his thoughts about this game and the matchup that is impending against Texas Tech. But Oregon victorious 51-34 over James Madison in this first round of the college football playoff. Get to Anthony Newman next here on the Dick Hanna Dealership postgame scoreboard show. But first, we got a weather and traffic update brought to you by Mods PDX. Take it away, Brandon.
Yeah, on your traffic report, on-ramp from I-105 west to the I-5 north, some slow and go there. Further up the I-5 north, over Beltline Road, there's some more bumper to bumper traffic there as well. 46 degrees in Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calls for a high of 48 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
We're here again with Jim Fisher's daughters, Molly and Emily, talking about snow.
This could be a quick screen. Hill goes outside, trying to straight arm, gets by, still on his feet. 50, foot race, hit 35 and out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the Dick Hanna Dealership Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 The Fan, 1080 The Fan, the Odyssey app, and YouTube. Glad to have you along with us. The Ducks get the victory, 51-34, jump out to a big early lead at one point, 34-3. They block a punt, and then at that point, I believe the score, you're looking at 48-13. All things roses for the Oregon Ducks. They let a few touchdowns late in the game from James Madison to make this 51-34. And almost it's similar to, like a round of golf when maybe you have a great front nine, you play a great first 9 holes, maybe a great first 12 or 13 holes, but you don't finish the round as well as you'd like. So it kind of leaves you wanting more at the end of it. But let's get Anthony Newman's perspective on it. Former Oregon Duck, NFL pro. Anthony, Ducks get the dub, 51-34. Is this a situation to you where it's like get in, get the dub, get the hell out, and move on? Or are you leaving a little bit maybe with an appetite not fulfilled with how this one ended?
No, I'm happy. You won the football game.
Right.
That's the number one thing you try to do is win a football game. I don't care if you try to win by 100 or 1 point. You have to win to move on, regardless of how it's done. Okay? If you struggle and all of a sudden you make some mistakes, really that's a good thing because you can learn from your mistakes going into the next game. You can understand what you did wrong. And yes, Oregon third quarter, the defense, all year they don't give up explosion plays, and they gave up so many explosion plays, like with busted coverages. Like, wait, what's going on? That's a learning point. That's something that you could learn from going into the next game when you play Texas Tech, who's going to be a totally different team. Okay, you got speed across the board, offense and defense, and you need to be focused. Now, yeah, you got young guys getting in the game, but if you're a young guy getting in the game, hey, you're under the spotlight, dude. You better play. You better find out who you need to guard and guard that dude. Okay, and if you don't play. You don't play here. End of story. And that's another learning point for the coaches. Okay, well, we're not going to play him because he doesn't know who to cover. So you learn with those things. But the bottom line is you didn't lose, you won. And don't compare other teams like, well, if you do this against another team, you're not doing this against another team because you know the other team is better. the other team that you're playing against, they're waiting on you. So it's a different story.
Okay, so are you kind of saying, Anthony, throw this second half out today? Is that ultimately the idea for Duck fans, that they don't need to worry about how this translates against a Texas Tech in the next round?
Well, no, you don't throw it out, meaning you learn from it. So the mistakes that you gave up on those explosion plays, why was this guy wide open? Was it bad technique or did you cover the right guy? You have to learn from it. That's a good thing. You have to understand the mistake. If you beat somebody 63-0 and then you walk away, oh yeah, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh, that was easy. Then you're not looking at mistakes that you made during the game because you did make mistakes because you're human. So you're going to make mistakes. But if you don't learn from those mistakes, then you're not going to get better. This is a game that you should get better because in the third and fourth quarter you got your butt whipped. So now let's improve and try to figure out what we need to do, okay, to go against Texas Tech, who is going to be a different program, it's a different team. The players, regardless, we're going to have our hands full. So it's a learning moment for these young players, and you have to remember they're kids. We're not talking about professionals. Okay, these guys are not in the building for 8 hours a day looking at film, working out, and practicing. You got maybe 2 hours out of the day with these kids. So this is a learning process that you need to use.
Just outside of the game, just more so the atmosphere, Anthony. I mean, you were down there. What was Autzen like today? Because I think that the big concern going into it, a lot of people are like, will it be sold out? Will there be empty seats? But it seemed like on TV, when that ball was ready to get kicked off, I said to my girlfriend, I leaned over, I'm like, that place is going insane right now. How was it the first home playoff game down there at Autzen ever?
That place was rocking. And it was kind of strange because before the game, outside the stadium, it didn't seem like a lot of people were there, like meaning, walking around, doing things. And it got a little cold, before the game started. But once we went in the stadium, that place was like, whoa, okay, this is a different story. When the Ducks came out and started warming up, it got loud. And then when they had the motorcycle, going through the tunnel and all that stuff, it was rocking. And so I'm thinking, nah, this is different. This is a playoff game, and the fans knew. So if it wasn't sold out, the maybe 53,000 fans that were there, they were rocking. They were yelling, and they wanted JMU fans to go, hey, we're here. This is our stadium now. You can hear the noise because it was loud. Because hey, give them credit. Okay, James Madison brought a crew of fans. They were loud too. They tried to, match the noise, which wasn't close, but they got loud. It was fun.
Anthony, I want to ask you, as a defensive back yourself, Dante Moore had 2 picks today, and I want to figure out if they were just like simple mistakes. Especially, I want to key in on the second one. It looked like he just made kind of a bad decision, and once again, this is JMU, but I do need to look at the fact that they are going to be facing off against better defensive backs in the next couple of rounds if they beat Texas Tech and move on, obviously, past the quarterfinals. But is that a concern for Dante Moore? I understand he hasn't thrown many picks this season, but in this scenario today, I was hoping he would throw none. I get he's not perfect, but this is the number 1 projected overall pick by Mel Kiper we're talking about here.
Yeah, but also you need to understand what was the play. What route was the receiver supposed to run?
Yeah.
So these interceptions that happen with quarterbacks sometimes are not the quarterback's fault. It's the receiver's fault.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we don't know that. See, on the outside, we're like, well, the quarterback threw a pick. But the receiver maybe should keep going instead of he stopped. And the quarterback says, during practice, you ran another 3 steps, and that's what I was doing, and you stopped, and now do it to the linebacker who's standing right there. So we have to find out more with, why did the interception happen? Because of the quarterback that made the mistake, or was it the receiver that made the mistake? So it's hard to judge if you don't know. How do we judge? Because we don't know who was wrong.
Well,
right?
and even just looking at the play, I'm kind of like trying to do a quick film review myself. I mean, might even look like right tackle Harkey just, didn't see that guy coming off the edge, and then he comes in unabated and just gets a hand on Dante, gets a hand on the arm, and that ball kind of flutters up there rather than him getting a full arm on it.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, and those are the little scenarios that you kind of look at, because you're right. I mean, Dante, all the NFL guys love him, and he was picking James Madison apart in the first 2 quarters. I mean, he has a cannon. He's accurate. Interceptions happen. But you have to find out why. Okay, what happened here? And you just found out one of them is he might have got hit on the arm as he's throwing the ball, and that's not on the quarterback's fault. Somebody's got to block for him.
Yeah. Well, are the tickets to Miami booked, my friend?
What's that?
Are the tickets to Miami booked? You going?
We'll find out. I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Well, I can imagine.
Are you taking us?
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be on Odyssey's bill this time. I don't know if you're going to be able to submit the expense report for that one.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll see.
And also, I think that they would also be like, you want to fly to Miami for New Year's Eve? Yeah. No, I think you're watching that one at home.
Yeah, but it's all good. We get to see the replays and have a front row seat, so and get some popcorn, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Very true. All right,
wait, that's a morning game, right? That's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. New Year's Day, Q.
9 a.m. That's getting hot coffee, and kicking back. That's okay.
That's brunch time, man. Bacon and eggs, and get the waffles going. Hell yes.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Maybe even a glass of Pedialyte to help with the hangover from the night before.
Really, that sounds like fun. So we'll do that.
All right. Well, get home safe. It's nice talking to you. It's been a few weeks, but that's how the season goes at this time of year with the playoff layover. So nice talking to you, and it will be great that we get to talk to you again here in about a week and a half, my friend.
So let's go. Let's do one more. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. You have a great night, and get home safe.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anthony Newman, former Duck NFL pro, with his thoughts on the game. And you will hear from him at least one more time, as he will be, we might, again, the programming still to be somewhat decided, because as Jordan mentioned, that's an early game, that Orange Bowl. That's going to be a 9 a.m. kick. What I will preview for you all, though, is that that Orange Bowl game, we will be having ourselves a little watch party over at Grand Central Bowl on New Year's Day.
Sounds fun.
So, like I said, you ready to shake off the New Year's Eve night hangover and get yourself a nice breakfast burrito?
Or continue and get a Bloody Mary.
Yes, or keep it going. Yeah, exactly. The hair of the dog that bit you. We will be there doing a watch party that day, and you and I, my friend, will be there for the postgame show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So put that on the calendar for New Year's Day to enjoy the Oregon Ducks Orange Bowl game, and also the day before, Orange Bowl preview show with Andy Dirt Johnson, Anthony Newman, and Big Sook, Jason Sukanik, from 1 to 4 on New Year's Eve. They will be doing that show for you all out there to preview the game against Texas Tech. Before we do anything else, let's get to Dusty Hara, though, and his thoughts. He was on the sideline for this one, so we will call him next. But first, it's time for a traffic and weather update brought to you by Mods PDX. Take it away, Brandon.
Update on traffic around Autzen. Looks like lanes are opening up more on the on-ramp from I-105 West to the I-5 North, and further up the I-5 North. Still a lot of congestion over Beltline Road. 46 degrees in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Hey, it's Sook. How about a simple New Year's
put the ball into the gut of Jordan Davidson, and he pulled out, said, I think I got this.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the Dick Hanna Dealership Post-Game Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network as the Ducks are victorious in this first-round playoff matchup against James Madison, 51-34. The Ducks, they get out to an early, big lead in this first half. They were up 34-3 at one point, 48-13 at one point. James Madison able to add a few touchdowns at the end there to make it a bit more respectable of a score, but man, I'll tell you what.
Respectable. They covered the darn spread.
They did cover.
Damn.
They did cover. And there was I said in the first segment, there was a point where they went for a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it was when they went, it was 48-26 and they went for 2.
Yes.
Did not get it. And I'm like, all right. Ducks are still covering. We're still
We're
good.
good.
And then Atticus
pick.
Sapton kicked the field goal to go up 51-26. And I can imagine if you did have the spread and watch James Madison convert a 99-yard drive
Unbelievable.
to get that last touchdown and cover the spread, I'd be sick to my stomach.
Well, and then after being, it was like 38-13, I think, at that point. So they were already down by 25. Then Oregon extended their lead again. Then James Madison scores twice in a row. And that interception, maybe it was just a mistake by the offensive lineman, but that was a 14-point swing, Joe.
Yeah, and on that point, I was telling Anthony, I'm trying to do film breakdown in the middle of talking to you, but it's like, whether that is Harkey's fault, whether that's Dante's fault for not sliding the protection over, whether that is, the receiver's fault for not running, but it does look like that ball, that arm got hit, that ball just floated up there.
Gotcha.
For that James Madison player to catch it. So whether that, again, was offensive line's fault, not recognizing it, Dante not recognizing it, and being able to tell them, hey, shift the line coverage over, move the pocket over to the right a little bit, so that way we're chipping this guy on the end a little bit more, at least getting a hand, because he had a free run at Dante on that. But all before that, though, as Anthony mentioned, Dante was on fire. He had a great game today. He was dicing them up, hitting every big long pass. I mean, how many wide open guys were downfield that he were hitting? I mean, even when they weren't wide open, that one deep touchdown pass to Malik Benson, I think his first one, he was basically even with the guy.
Yeah.
And then you saw the difference in speed by the end of the catch, because he just I've been in those positions playing football at a younger age, not nearly as high of a level, and some guys will recognize this, is that you're running a route, and then you see the ball go in the air, and then you hit another gear where you're like, I need to go catch this.
It's called boosties, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you saw Benson just get that separation of 2-3 yards from the DB. And that was one of those that's the difference in skill between the Oregon Ducks and James Madison there. Okay, I got it now.
Let me also point out another point of difference in skill. Jeremiah McClellan catching that touchdown despite literally being held. I would say not just held, but grabbed. His jersey was being pulled on with both hands. Didn't matter. He hauled it in. The flag's thrown, and McClellan was one of the better performers today. They had Decorian Moore back. Yeah, we saw Gary Bryant Jr. out there again. But, man, every single other guy, maybe besides Kenyon Sadiq, had big stats today. It was really nice to see Oregon spreading the love. And in those first 5 touchdowns, man, I say that it looked like video game football because it was just long pass, easy score. Long pass, easy score. Will Stein didn't have to draw anything up more than 4 plays in a row. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, touchdowns of 41 yards, 56 yards, 46 yards, and 45 yards. We will get to be getting to Dusty here shortly, but let's run through just some individual player statistics for Oregon. Dante Moore finishes 19 for 27, 313, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. On the rushing game, Jordan Davison, 10 rushes for 90 yards, and very curious to talk to Dusty because I missed the play. I missed what happened. Jordan Davison did leave the game early, though.
Yeah.
He was getting helped off the field by a couple of players, so I would assume some type of lower leg injury. Definitely something to keep an eye on over the next week and a half as they get ready for Texas Tech. De'Aaron Hill Jr., 6 carries for 76 yards, 56 of those coming on his touchdown run, his 1 touchdown today. Noah Winnington, 4 carries for 24. Jaden Lamar, 1 for 10. Dante Moore, 1 for 5. That was his touchdown run. Jay Harris, 1 carry for 1 yard. On the receiving end.
Really quickly, interested to see why Winnington wasn't running the ball, especially in Davison's absence. Maybe they just didn't need him, but it was nice. Like, he had 1 long run to start the game, right? And then kind of just went away.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, with how the passing game was working too, it was,
true.
Air it out a little bit while you're completing those passes. That to me was also like a key, like, all right, the guys on the outside are way better than these DBs.
Yeah.
Just exploit them all day long. But on the receiving side, Jeremiah McClellan leading all receivers in catches, 6 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown, as Jordan mentioned, that contested catch touchdown. Malik Benson, 5 catches for 119 and 2 touchdowns. And then the rest of the crew, you got 1 catch from Jamari Johnson, which was maybe the best catch of the day. I don't know, Jeremiah McClellan, his catch in the back of the end zone was pretty nice. But the one-handed snag from Jamari Johnson on that 41-yard touchdown, that set the tone right away. Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great way to start the game. De'Aaron Hill Jr., 1 catch for 40 yards. Noah Winnington, a catch for 12 yards. DeCorian Moore, he was back, baby. Limited action, but he was back. 1 catch for 5 yards. And then Sadiq, 2 for 19. Jaden Lamar, 2 for -6. But that is 313 total passing yards, receiving yards for the Oregon Ducks, 201 rushing yards for a total of 514. On the defensive side, Bryce Betcher leading all tacklers, 9. You also had a half sack each for Bear Alexander and Tatum Tuioti. No interceptions from this team.
It's a little surprising.
Yeah, no, I mean, outside of the blocked punt, that counts as a turnover, and I think that's about it.
Scoop and score there for Jaden Lamar on that block punt for touchdown, right?
Yeah, as he kicked it right into the back of his own player. I mean, that was great.
I was going to say, Joe, there's the butt fumble that Mark Sanchez famously had for the New York Jets.
butt punt.
Yeah. Now we have the butt punt from James Madison. The Dukies are butt punting.
Yeah, it was, great job on the edge there. I don't know if that was, because it was number 9, if that was Jamari Johnson that was playing on that punt unit there that got the push, or if there was another number 9. I'm forgetting who number 9
Blake
is on the
Purchase.
defense.
Thank you. It was Blake Purchase. I remember now the call Jerry made. It was
totally
Blake Purchase
blew up
on
the
that.
line on that.
He pushed the other
Yes.
offensive lineman into the punter. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what caused it. Like, it wasn't that an Oregon Duck player got a hand
Nope.
on it. It was just he just shoved the James Madison player back into the punter to where he kicked the ball right into the back of him.
Butt punt, and that honestly looked like it was kind of leading up to that the entire game. It was, they almost blocked the punt. They almost blocked the punt. And maybe if the guy hadn't taken 2 or 3 steps each time trying to get the ball out and wait for his receivers or his blockers to get downfield a little bit, they wouldn't have had that happen. But yeah, it just kind of, you could feel it like almost happening each time, and thankfully Oregon cashed in.
Right. All right, let's see if maybe we can effort to get Dusty Hara in here. He's getting the last interviews, finishing things up, press conference, doing all the stuff down there as the Ducks finish up their day after winning 51-34 over James Madison. It's good to get a playoff win, man. It's been a few years. Since getting a playoff win.
It's Jameis Winston in Florida State, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the last playoff victory is that game.
That was the Rose Bowl. Wow, and they beat that ass.
Yeah, that was
against
nice.
the Seminoles that
was
day.
Fun. I will say, though, about Autzen, too, and I was saying this to some coworkers earlier this week and on the sales team and anybody, it's just, I think I said it this morning, I was like, man, even when Autzen is and the Ducks are playing a inferior opponent and they're just putting bell to ass, nothing is better because Autzen is just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it is just a party the entire time.
We had that worry, but man, that was just, you could hear it, Dusty. It was down there, and he'll be able to tell us coming up here in a couple of minutes. But that first quarter, Joe, I don't think I've ever heard Autzen louder.
And got a text from boss Sam Tung on the sales team. Can confirm Autzen was effing awesome. So there you go.
Hell yeah.
Ducks fan showed up. And it's time for Dusty Hara to show up. We will go to him next. But first, Mods PDX traffic weather report next. Take it away, Brandon.
Update on traffic around Autzen, I-5 North, just past Beltline Road. Still a bit of congestion there, and then some more slow and go further up the I-5 in Coburg and Tangent. 46 degrees in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Post-Game Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network. Dick Hanna, believe in nice.
Davison and Hill, and under center for Moore. On third down at about 2 or 3. Go back, pitch it, going left. Hill's going to get the first down and a lot more. 40, sideline 30, gets by 20, 15, 10, touchdown! Deer Hill! Speed will get you every time. 56 yards.
And I think a little block possibly by Kenyon Sadiq on the outside also sprung him, but speed kills, no doubt about it, Jerry.
Time for the second half. Oregon Ducks football on the Fan is brought to you by Coors Light, Dick Hanna Dealerships, Philbrook Law, Video Only, Bellagio's Pizza, Langdon Farms Golf Club, Wilsonville Toyota, Mountaintop Metal Roofing, Victor Rico's Mexican Food, Legends Casino Hotel, Mods PDX, and Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. The Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app. Drives on. Here's your hosts, Joe Fisher and Jordan Schultz.
Welcome back in, Dick Hanna Dealership post-game scoreboard show right here on the Fan, and we will go to Dusty Hara, sideline reporter for the Oregon Ducks, brand manager here at the Fan Sports Network. Dusty, always love getting you on here to get the sights and the sounds from the sideline from you. What stood out to you in this game? Was it more so the start or the finish for you? And I'm curious if on the sideline as well, towards the end of the game, maybe there was maybe I shouldn't say not happy, but like maybe coaches, players chirping at each other a little bit to finish a little bit stronger. Just give me the overall feel of the game.
Yeah, man, what a whirlwind of emotions that game was, right? I mean,
yes.
the way that they started, and just the sheer dominance of the offense early in that game. I mean, when you have 29 plays to start the game, and 23 of them are either a touchdown or a first down, you're pretty dominant offensively, right? And 34-6 was I think what a lot of people envisioned that game being. I talked to a lot of people this week and just said, like, I think this game is going to be closer. And I didn't think it would be at the beginning, because if you heard Bob Chesney, if you've watched any of JMU, it's like they just are this engine that keeps on rolling through. And what we saw was that team didn't quit. Usually what we see is when Oregon starts filtering in the backups, right? Teams are quitting, and they're like, oh, great. Like, the starters rolled us, and now the backups are in, and teams kind of roll over. JMU did not have that tonight, and they moved the ball insanely well. It leaves a bitter taste in the mouth, right? Like, the fact that Oregon was up 48-13 late in the third quarter, I mean, that, like, it was one of those things where it's like, this game should not be a 17-point game at the end. And that feeling kind of prevailed. You mentioned, like, I don't know what the TV cameras caught or whatever. I didn't get the sense that it was chippiness. I got the sense of it was more in, like Lanny said it in the postgame, of holding ourselves to the standard, right? And that can be construed as getting chippy, but it didn't feel like that. It was like we know we are better than this, is what they were saying. And so it's an uncomfortable game, right? I mean, they were dominant, but they also allowed a team to kind of come back and make the score look very respectable at the end. I give JMU a ton of credit for that. But it's not lost on me that, like, there were a lot of reserves playing on the defensive side of the ball late in the game, and it wasn't what we're used to seeing, which was those guys kind of continue what the starters built for them.
Yeah, Dusty, to that point, definitely a tale of two halves. Obviously, Oregon not really playing as efficiently in that second half, but scoring on those first 5 drives until late in that second quarter when Dante Moore threw that pick. I guess the question is, how much did that efficiency early dictate the outcome versus the overall talent difference that you're just talking about here?
Yeah, I think that was the key to it. And the terrifying thing, and, Dirt Anthony and I were talking about this in the pregame show, is like, don't ever let an opponent that, from a skill standpoint and a talent standpoint, they're not the same as you are. Don't give them the hope that they can hang around, right? Because when you give a team that hope, then they just build momentum, even if they're losing in the game. With the way that Oregon played early, and I think that even the field goal on the opening drive for JMU, where it was like, that was a successful drive for them with their scripted plays, and they moved the ball effectively. Like, that was holding them to a field goal and being like, no, you can't trade our 7s for your 3s. That's not going to be something that helps you win a football game. Because even their offense was like, how many times even in the first half, right, the second scoring drive for them, they had a 50-yard play on a trick play, right?
Yep.
Like, they were unloading their trick plays, and that's exactly how Idaho stayed in a game last year to start the season, right? Is they just unloaded their trick plays, and that's what worked for them because they couldn't beat you straight up. And that's a lot of what JMU had success with early in the game. In the second half, that wasn't the case. That was JMU just running their offense. And I think it says a lot about how disruptive Barrett Alexander and Amar are when they are in the game, because those guys, they may not have had a bunch of stats. They made it so JMU had to be uncomfortable and get to the edges. That's not a team that necessarily wins on the edges, but they were forced to do that tonight because of how disruptive those two guys were in the middle.
To look ahead now, they got a matchup against Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl in Miami on New Year's Day. How healthy did the guys get out of there? Because I know that I saw the clip going around of Jordan Davison getting help to the locker room. What was kind of the status of everybody else on the team, if there was anything that we might have missed that we need to keep an eye on? But also, what are the Ducks going to have to do between now and January 1st to clean some things up, and what are they going to have to do specifically against this Texas Tech team?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Davison, I don't know what the status of him is. I mean, the clips that are going around are, watching him just kind of go without putting any weight on that right leg. Obviously, that's concerning. He's been a true freshman that has been absolutely outstanding all season long, especially in short yardage situations. And when you think about a game against a front seven like Texas Tech has, a guy like Jordan Davison, useful. So that's going to be something that people have a close eye on. But outside of that, like DeCorian Moore, Gary Bryant Jr., they looked fine over the course of that game. I think that, having those guys back at full strength is great. Everybody else came out. It looked pretty clean. Theron Johnson is going to be one to kind of look for. That was a scary hit on that kickoff where, it looked like he kind of had that fencing position where his arms kind of popped up. I will say, though, that he was on the sidelines, did not have his helmet, but he was engaged in talking with teammates throughout the course of the rest of the game after that. But outside of those two guys, I mean, it really was like the Ducks came out pretty dang healthy on that, and that's a great sign. I thought, what we saw in that first half, that's what that offensive line also looks like, healthy. You know, and I think we underestimate how banged up Isaiah World, Poncho Lalululu, and Alex Harkey were in that final stretch of the regular season. Those three guys, and really all 5 on the offensive line, looked really good tonight. But Texas Tech is a different beast. That front seven is no joke. It's the best front seven they will see all season long, arguably. I mean, it's up there with Indiana, in Stephen Daly and company when he was healthy, and Iowa. I mean, it's a really good front seven that they have.
Yeah, Dusty, going forward into the quarterfinals, what does this win translate for Oregon from James Madison now v. Texas Tech? Is this a legitimate playoff team? Is this program considered an actual contender that could win it all. Like, I know that at the end of the first half, we all thought that they could beat anybody, and I think by the end of the entire game, especially like in the middle of the third quarter, we're all kind of thinking, well, might have got ahead of ourselves a little bit. I wonder how legitimate you see Oregon being after today's game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but watching the other first-round games, and this may say something about the other games or the other teams as opposed to what the 4 teams that got a bye were as opposed to the 8 that were playing this weekend. I mean, it didn't look like anybody was dominant in any stretch, right? I mean, it was outside Ole Miss against Tulane. But you think of what that means with, I mean, if Oregon goes ahead and they beat JMU 56-13, right? Everybody is just jocking Oregon and telling them how great they are. If there's one thing that they're not going to get, it's not going to get too much praise, right? They're not going to get that Nick Saban rat poison of how great they are after the way that game finished. And as frustrating as it is from the coaches and the players, I think that not feeling themselves too much and, smelling their farts too much is going to be had over the next 11 days before they play Texas Tech. It is going to be a nose to the grindstone mentality and seeing how they can improve on the faults that they had. I mean, what they did to build that lead was very impressive. It was against a group of 16, and that should be noted. And then what happened, especially when kind of the reserves came in and momentum got rolling for JMU, that is obviously something that is going to be harped on and stressed over the next 11 days.
Yeah, I mean, you basically took the words right out of this comment that I was reading, as basically right before you said it. Someone saying, I'm totally cool with Oregon getting bitch slapped around at the end of the game. I almost would worry more if they won 58-13 and walked into the Orange Bowl thinking they are untouchable. Dan will be mad, and he will have them absolutely ready against Texas Tech. Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. It's like, get that little bit of humble pie there before you got to take on someone much more talented, much more capable of beating you in a Texas Tech team over James Madison. So definitely hear what you're saying. Appreciate you as always. And stoked that, as I told Anthony, that we get to talk to you one more time this season in about a week and a half.
Let's go. I mean, New Year's Day, it's always a special day to play. 9 a.m. is going to be a very early kick, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to hear you guys out of Grand Central after for the post-game scoreboard show on the road.
Yeah, baby.
It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And there are 2 things that I wanted to highlight that were actually good from tonight. I know everybody wants to harp on all the bad stuff. Special teams have been a disaster in every single one of these college football playoff games, and Oregon was clean, man. You had Sappington hitting a 48-yarder.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was pretty clean on that front. The Ducks blocked a punt, and Ferguson Reynolds pinned them inside the 11-yard line on one. I mean, it was special teams have been bad in the playoffs so far. I thought Oregon was clean there, and then I witnessed one of the cooler moments of a guy that, I mean, you talk about an Oregon Duck through and through. Bryce Betcher during shout, it was really cool to see that moment for him because you could tell he was taking it in and getting a little bit emotional when he was seeing shout for the last time. That's a guy that you think of his path, being a walk-on, being a star on the baseball field, now starring on the football field, and that final farewell and getting that home playoff game. It was a really cool moment, and it was awesome to see that guy who's entered legendary status for the University of Oregon take in shout one last time, and it's always one of the cool experiences of college football. So that's it.
Well, no, that's great. I mean, that's why we love having you on the sideline, man. You get to get those observations that maybe the TV cameras don't pick up, or Jerry Jorge might not be seeing up in the press box there. So appreciate you as always. And again, we get to talk to you on New Year's Day, my man. Get home safely.
Let's go. We're going to Miami.
Well, you're going to Miami.
Yeah. Enjoy, buddy. Enjoy.
All right,
Yeah,
that was
the royal we.
Yes.
We will be there in spirit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, live vicariously through Dusty Hara. Appreciate you as always. That was Dusty Hara, sideline reporter for the Ducks, fan brand manager here. We are going to take a quick break. Let's take a look at the bracket. We got all 4 games. They are in. We know all the matchups. We will do that next here on the Dick Hanna Dealerships postgame scoreboard show. But first, Brandon with a traffic and weather update brought to you by Mods PDX.
Update on traffic around Autzen. Still a bit of slow and go traffic around the stadium on Coburg Road and MLK Boulevard. Looks like lanes are cleared up on the I-5 North and Beltline Road with some slow spots further up in Tangent. 45 degrees in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Your home for Oregon Ducks football. KRSK Portland, KRSK FM H.
First round of the college football playoffs. So let's take a look at the bracket as it currently stands. Last night, Alabama with a crazy comeback, largest comeback in college football playoff history. They were down 17-0 to Oklahoma. They come back, outscore them the rest of the way, 34-7.
Ooh, what a game! Man.
Yeah, it was wild, totally crazy. Ended that first half, and then the rest of the game, Alabama just dominating to win 34-24. Alabama advances, and they will take on number 1 seed Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
I'm not sure. Alabama played really well. I'm not sure I would have rather seen Alabama than John Mateer. I really wish that at that point, I think in the second quarter, I thought Oklahoma was just looking really good under the former Wazoo quarterback. Wow, gonna see how they match up against the Hoosiers, and not to be, but dude, that was a crazy game. But I was impressed with John Mateer. Where's that guy been? I know he was injured, but where's that dude been for Oklahoma all season?
Yeah, I hear you. So that will be the Rose Bowl game. That will be the last game, or excuse me, that will be the middle game on New Year's Day. The 1 versus 9 matchup. That will be at 1 o'clock on ESPN, the Rose Bowl game. Then this morning, in one of the most boring games it felt like I'd ever seen, and and I'm sure you were clenching on this one too because you live bet the 13.5,
and I won.
and Texas A&M
Let's
they
go.
were down there.
That was some crappy football, baby.
In the red zone at the end against Miami. Miami had the 10-3 lead. Texas A&M trying to tie this game up, but they throw an interception in the end zone, and Miami holds on at Kyle Field. Great defensive performance by them to not let them get in the end zone at all, especially at the end there. But Miami wins 10-3. They will advance and take on Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Eve, 4:30 on ESPN. Ohio State, 9.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think we all know that the Buckeyes are probably going to roll in whoever was going to win that game. But that was a nice one for the old football fans out there, the vintage football, if you will. That was just... wow, defense and boring drives.
And then today, after that Miami Texas A&M game, we had Ole Miss Tulane, a rematch of Ole Miss Tulane from earlier this year when Ole Miss they beat Tulane earlier this year. I believe the final score of that game was 45-10.
Yikes!
Well, the final score of this one was 41-10.
Yikes!
So not much of a difference this time.
Except the head coach.
Yeah, just a different looking head coach. That's right.
That was cool to see Jeff Golden get the ball afterwards. Man,
Yeah,
you picked them covering the spread, Ole Miss this morning, and really smart, Joe. They looked motivated as hell out there.
Yes, they did. They get the big win, cruise to victory over Tulane, 41-10, and they will be in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day at 5:00, taking on Georgia on ESPN. Georgia, a 7-point favorite in that one.
Yeah, 400 yards per game, 32 points for Georgia, man. I like me some Gunnar Stockton.
Then also, I didn't mention Indiana, 7-point favorite against Alabama on the early line there. And then the last matchup of that first round playoff will be the first matchup on New Year's Day, at least, and that is the Orange Bowl. Your Oregon Ducks taking on Texas Tech, 9 a.m. on ESPN in the Orange Bowl down in Miami. Right now, Texas Tech opening up as a 1.5-point favorite for that matchup between them and Oregon.
It's going to be the best game of the quarterfinals. I mean, you've got a huge front seven, very, very good. Jacob Rodriguez leading the Red Raiders up front for them. They've won by more than, I think, 21 every single game this season in all of their victories. Obviously, that loss to Arizona State came without their starting quarterback. But their starting quarterback, speaking of which, is actually injured, at least or has been for the past month. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into the game. And they actually don't have their backup either. They lost him a lot earlier. So go for the legs, Oregon. Let's go.
And we got a little party for you if you want to come hang out at Grand Central Bowl. We will be doing a Orange Bowl watch party on New Year's Day, 9 a.m. We'll be chilling there. Schultze and I will be hanging out after the game to do the Ducks post-game scoreboard show.
Heck yeah.
At Grand Central. The day before, December 31st, 1 to 4, we will have a Orange Bowl preview show with Andy Dirt Johnson, Anthony Newman, and the big fella, Big Sook. He's going to be joining the guys this time.
That'll be awesome.
For Ducks preview show, Orange Bowl preview show. Again, that will be New Year's Eve, 1 to 4 o'clock with them. And then the next day, Ducks watch party out at Grand Central Bowl, and we will be hosting at the post-game scoreboard show there as well. So great day for the Ducks, 51-34 victory. Who was the player of the game, though? Let's find out. It's time for the Mountaintop Metal Roofing player of the game. We do that next year on the Dick Hendon Dealership postgame scoreboard show. But first, we got a traffic and weather update from Brandon, brought to you by Mods PDX.
Update on traffic around Autzen. Still a bit of slow and go around the stadium on Coburg Road, MLK Boulevard, and Franklin Boulevard. Looks like lanes are cleared up on the I-5 North, but still some slow spots further up in Tangent. 45 degrees in Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
At Dick Hanna, we know that buying a car can feel like you're in some
and the Odyssey app. Time now for the Mountaintop Metal Roofing Player of the Game.
From the shotgun, back to throw. Going deep down the right-hand side. Down Benson. He's got it. Touchdown! Malik Benson, a perfectly thrown ball over the left shoulder. Malik Benson reels it in. And Oregon has made it 33-3 off a 46-yard pass play from Dante Moore to Malik Benson.
Do it once, do it right. Mountaintop Metal Roofing.
Your Mountaintop Metal Roofing Player of the Game, Dante Moore. He was dicing up that defense all day. Woo! I'm looking over some of the replays and the passes he made. I mean, the touchdown pass to Malik Benson, just dropping it in the bucket, leading him perfectly downfield for that big 46-yard touchdown right before halftime there. That made it a 34-3 game. The pass that he had to Jeremiah McClellan in the back left of the end zone, just putting it only where he can catch it, and McClellan making a great catch. He had another throw that I just saw the replay, and it reminded me of where it was about like a 20-yard throw, but he hit Jeremiah McClellan. There was a James Madison player to the left, front right, a player behind McClellan, and there was a small window for Dante Moore to get that ball into, and he delivered it perfectly, got him into the red zone, and just threw him open, threw him to the spot that he needed to be at. And again, just an example of him basically just kind of doing it all today. A couple interceptions, but I mean, those came at a point when he had already just diced this defense up. So Dante Moore showing that he clearly has control of this offense and maybe now control of the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I mean, this is a game that might have some NFL scouts salivating.
Yeah, the time that he had in the pocket and just the poise that he had with those seconds, I mean, it was full progression reads for Dante Moore a lot of today, and he really took advantage of those. It was big play after explosive play after big play in that first half, and then finally the last touchdown that Oregon scored on the offensive side of the ball for Malik's second touchdown from Dante. It did not seem to waver. Their successful drives all looked pretty much the same today. And credit to Will Stein. I don't think you got to look at two coaches in Will Stein and Tosh Lupoi that are on their way out, right? Like Tosh Lupoi to Cal, Will Stein to Kentucky, but he is still here. And I don't think he actually cared about his job in the future the way that he was talking about going into today. Like there was a definite game plan, and there's excitement, I think, for Will Stein still to be here, which I was really keying in on. I think a lot of people had questions about that, and I think that's one reason why Dante Moore felt so comfortable today, not only because of that protection, but because of Will Stein's game plan. I mean, he was not in trouble much, Joe. They only had 7 third down attempts today.
Yeah.
Oregon did. Like that just speaks to the success that they had. And once again, we talked about it earlier in the show, time of possession. I think overall the Ducks had it 10 less minutes than James Madison. Because they didn't need it. It was a lot of quick strikes, and Dante Moore, he did look like that number 1 overall pick. And I just said it to Brandon at the break, man. Mel Kiper's projecting him to be the best prospect coming up here in 2026. He gone. We are watching Dante Moore's possible final 3 games here if they can make the national championship game, and I'm excited to see what he does in that run.
No sacks on Dante Moore today. As you mentioned, time of possession difference. JMU had the ball for 35, almost 36 minutes to Oregon's 24 minutes. In that first half, Dante Moore was 11 of 14, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. And they put up 34 points in 9.5 minutes in that first half. So just diced him up. Just Dante looking fantastic in this game, and he is your Mountaintop Metal Roofing Player of the Game. Take a quick break, and then we will get back into all of the action. Read some of your thoughts on the YouTube chat if you want to jump in there and share your thoughts. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, mostly on my fault, because I probably set my water bottle too hard on my phone in the middle of the night, Friday night or Thursday night, which led to me breaking my phone and not having access to the text line. They do this whole thing now, the 2-factor authentication.
Yeah, you need your phone.
And you need your phone
to do your job.
Yeah, and so there will be some IT tickets that are sent in on Monday, so that way I can have access to everything that I need again to do my job, and the text line will be one of those. But if you want to share your thoughts, jump on the YouTube chat or jump on Twitter. I am at JoeFish3, FISCH. Jordan is on the air, Jordan, Jordon. or jump on the 105.1 The Fan Twitter page and let us know your thoughts there. Take a quick break, get back into the coverage of this Ducks victory, 51-34 over James Madison. But first, if you're still out on the roads, let's get you a weather and traffic update brought to you by Mods PDX. Brandon.
Yeah, update on the traffic around Autzen. Still a bit of slow and go around the stadium on Coburg Road, MLK Boulevard, and Franklin Boulevard. I-5 North has some slow spots in Tangent and Albany with multiple police cars reported in that area. 45 degrees in Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
The Oregon Ducks live on the Fan.
Gonna keep it, run right. Oh! Back to throw. Little pump fake. Got to go to the end zone. Back shoulder throw. He caught it. He caught that ball. That's a touchdown. Jeremiah McClellan.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show here on the Fan Sports Network. I want to read this quote from you because I think this is kind of how fans are feeling about this Ducks victory. And this comes straight from the horse's mouth, that horse being wide receiver Malik Benson.
Ooh, okay.
Brett McMurphy with this tweet, he said that Oregon senior wide receiver Malik Benson, after the 51-34 first-round playoff win versus James Madison, quote, "Normally you hear music in the locker room after a win. It wasn't like that tonight. It's almost like we lost," end quote. That's coming from Malik Benson, a player that played great in tonight's game, that was part of that huge offensive output. He's saying that the team was clearly not satisfied with the way that they played tonight. And I think that a lot of fans, the players, the coaches, the media, they can see from this game that it's like they did not finish the game and play as consistently as they would have liked to. And this is a great time to do that because you can't do this against a team as good as Texas Tech. You can't do it against the Indianas. You can't do it against Ohio State. So as far as the time goes, and this is probably why a lot of fans wanted to play this game and have this opportunity, is to shake that rust off and understand what it means to play a full 4 quarters of football, which Anthony Newman preaches about all the time, playing a full
minutes.
4 quarters, 60 minutes. And you didn't see that from Oregon today. You saw a fantastic 40 minutes of football, 45 minutes of football about. But what you want to see is that full 60 minutes. So, again, Malik Benson, he said, normally you hear music in the locker room after win. It wasn't like that tonight. It's almost like we lost. Which, again, it's like I'm glad that they're having that mentality of like, guys, this was not up to our standard. And we need to be better, especially as we're going against this good Texas Tech team.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Joe. As a diehard Ducky fan, that gets me fired up because you look at the stats. Overall, it doesn't really matter who is playing. And we'll hear from Dan Lanning here. When he talked to Dusty Hara after the game, not only did he talk about the lack of consistency for Oregon, but you could just hear the tone in his voice. Like, no matter the words that he was saying, there was definitely an undertone of annoyance at the results.
You could see it on his face on the TV broadcast. Too. Just him just kind of being like, I'm not going to be absolutely pissed here because we were dominating a good chunk of this, but again, he was not satisfied with how things were transpiring at the end of the game, for sure.
No, you can't give up 509 total yards on offense to a much lesser team than you, regardless of who's in the game. Second, third string, or first string players, right? And there were obvious mistakes in the second half that need to be corrected. And hopefully Oregon fans got what they want. And because of that, I remember, I think it was a couple segments ago, the YouTube comments said that, hey man, agreeing with Dusty, actually, having this chance to maybe stumble a little bit, play with your food, so to speak, in the second half today does allow them to get their head right after that, as opposed to just being overconfident after beating down a lesser team 60-0.
Yeah, and everybody's jocking you, everybody's loving you, and saying like, "Oh man, Oregon, it looks absolutely dominant against JMU." Yeah, I'm taking them to beat Texas Tech all day, man. I mean, like, and it's funny. Someone did jump into the YouTube chat and say that Oregon was favored to start this. They opened at 1.5, and he was right. They did open as 1.5, and it's already swung into Texas Tech's favor. Texas Tech is now the 1.5 point favorite. Because I know I saw that the Texas Tech was the favorite 1.5, but surely, Oregon did open up as the 1.5 point favorite. So things have already swung in Texas Tech's favor, at least on the betting lines with the sports books. But yeah, I think this is, you learn from your mistakes. And luckily, it just happened against a team that you had a 34-3 lead against. And so you made those mistakes. You let your foot off the gas. Some of those second, third string guys made mistakes that you're going to have to clean up. Offense made some mistakes too. Special teams played great today, but it's a great win, but also a great learning experience for this team overall.
Absolutely. I think that the second half proved to the guys themselves that, hey, we do have things to work on, and there are fixable things there. That's the thing, is like, we've seen Oregon do the right things. I don't think anybody's concerned that Oregon's just going to lay all over themselves against Texas Tech, right? Like, it's not going to be an Ohio State game. Like, I don't know. I've been talking to some Duck fans who are like, oh, the quarterfinals again, man. They have bad memories of last year. In my opinion, yes, Texas Tech has a great front seven. Oregon is a much better team than Texas Tech. Oregon has beaten better teams than Texas Tech has this season in their schedule overall compared to Oregon. So as long as they fix these things and they have the opportunity to over the next 10 days or so, I think Oregon's going to be just fine in the quarterfinals.
Let's hear from the coach, though. As you mentioned in Dan Lanning's thoughts and feelings after this game, we got the audio. We have it recorded, and we will play here for you on the Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show. But first, let's kick it over to Brandon with a weather and traffic update brought to you by Mods PDX.
Update on traffic around Autzen. Still a bit of slow and go around the stadium on Coburg Road, MLK Boulevard, and Franklin Boulevard. I-5 North still has some slow spots in Tangent and Albany. Multiple police cars reported in that area as well. 45 degrees in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the play.
And the Ducks go two receivers stacked, one behind each other on each way, left and right. Back to throw. Dante comes the pressure, wide open downfield. Benson, touchdown! That looked like a practice play. He got lost. Benson behind everybody, and Dante got to be saying, you got to be kidding me.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Ducks win 51-34 over James Madison. Let's hear Coach's thoughts on this one. Head coach Dan Lanning, he caught up with Dusty Hara after the game.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And let's hear his thoughts about this victory, Oregon 51-34 over James Madison.
Coach, a 51-34 win in the college football playoff. Initial thoughts on your team's performance tonight as a win and now into the quarterfinals in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, not consistent enough, right? There were some moments that were real positives, and there were some moments that we didn't perform the way we needed to perform. And credit to JMU, they did some really good things against us, but ultimately we didn't play fundamental football the way we have to play.
In tournament-style football, it can be hard to kind of juggle the survive and advance aspect of it to the playing to the expectations. How do you approach that with this team and moving on?
Yeah, ultimately it's about playing to our standard, right? We didn't play to our standard for 4 quarters. We did it for about a half, and that ain't enough. We got a lot more in the tank, and there's certainly going to be some moments for improvement after that game.
One performance that was outstanding was Malik Benson goes for 107 yards and a couple big touchdowns in this one. He has realized all the potential that he had of buzz coming into him as a recruit. And what have you seen from him and his growth?
Just a great teammate that's available and ready to go execute and do his job, each and every day. And it's shown up for us here down the stretch in this season.
Offensive line had a phenomenal game, keeping Dante clean and rushing for over 200, throwing for over 300 yards. How have you seen that crew kind of come out of this long break, which it can be hard to get back up and back into game speed and get the momentum that they have?
I thought they started off really hot in the first half, and then again there was certainly some moments for improvement in the second half. I think we had 1 third down in the first half, and obviously we had some more in the second half. We got to do a better job to finish.
Defensively, 6 points at the break. What did you see that change from that first half to that second half on that side of the football?
We certainly didn't tackle as well. In the second half, we gave us some explosive plays, which can't happen. And, their quarterback made some good plays down the stretch, but we're definitely capable of being much better than we were there.
Going to the doctor and then coming back, you got the Orange Bowl ahead of you on New Year's Day. What are the initial thoughts on Texas Tech and that matchup?
Yeah, they're obviously a good team. Haven't got to see a ton of them, but I've been able to take a glance and see them play throughout the year. It's a team that plays with great energy, really, really united, and obviously going to be a great challenge for us.
Well, Coach, we're going to send you off to the media, but Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in Miami.
All right, Merry Christmas.
You could. I'm going to echo his sentiments a lot. There is that there were some great things that were done in this game, but not consistent. You played a good half. You didn't play a full game. And as much as people might want to say, second string guys, third string guys, again, there were guys that were getting reps late in that game and in that fourth quarter who have been playing all year, who may not be as starters, but have been getting a lot of reps this year. And they got put in that game and they got put in that environment. So rightfully so. I mean, on the defensive side, you should get your ass chewed out for that just because, you gave up 500 plus yards and 30 plus points for the first time all season long, and it was against James Madison. You didn't do that against Washington. You didn't do that against USC. Penn State at the time was a much better team. You didn't do that against them. You didn't do that against anybody this season. Nope. So, again, you did offense. I really have no qualms about what the offense did today. I mean, they put up a 50-burger. You can't be upset about that. Yeah. Obviously, they didn't put up 50 points themselves because 7 of it came from a blocked punt. But still, the offense was on point today. Special teams was on point today. If you're a part of that defensive unit today, whether you're first string, second string, third string, you're going to be holding yourselves accountable for this next week and a half and saying we cannot do that because Texas Tech, their defense is going to show up in the Orange Bowl. They have a great defense. That's what they've hung their hat on all year. Quite frankly, that's what the Ducks have hung their hat on all year, is having a great defense. And to me, just as a Duck fan, watching that game, I hear you. Like Malik Benson even said, it was like there was no music in the locker room. It almost felt like we lost. I was getting there at a point too where I'm like, yeah, this is nice getting the win. I was like, I'd rather not give up 34 points to James Madison and get this game over with, because that game was a long game too.
Oh my God, that had to be 4+
very
hours.
Long
410,
game.
420.
The last 20 seconds of the first half and the last 2 minutes of the game felt like a whole quarter in themselves.
So the longer it dragged on, kind of the more just kind of irked and irritated and annoyed I got with what was transpiring at the end of that game. Is you didn't close out as well as you would have liked. You didn't finish strong. You didn't play a full 60 minutes. You played very, 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 very well for the first 2.5 quarters to put yourself in a position to get a victory and never have it in question. But you would have liked to be much more cleaner than this.
Well, yeah, obviously we mentioned it a couple of different times. The matching of output on offense, I think you got to be disappointed if you're an Oregon Duck in allowing that to happen. And I think the big point of the game where Dan Lanning's talking specifically about where bad stuff kind of kept happening, that was that 14-point swing when Dante Moore threw that interception in Oregon's red zone that quickly turned into, I think, a return across midfield
return.
And then a penalty as well because of Jamari Johnson headbutting the guy that picked it. Like, I get it. Like, he's a kid, all right, but it's like you can't do that. He owned you. He picked it. He wins. And then that set them up for a touchdown. I think it was a very quick 3-and-out for Oregon, turning around into another 90-yard drive for James Madison. So 14-point swing goes from 13 to 26 to 48. That cannot happen. You will lose if you do that against Texas Tech.
Yeah, so again, it's nice to learn that lesson when you have a comfortable lead like that and you're able to again, I said it while I think you were in there getting Anthony on the phone, but I said it's like a golf round where you start great for the first 12 holes.
Yeah.
And then the last 5-6 holes of the round, you go bogey,
tired,
double
the
bogey,
heat's turning
double
up a
bogey,
little bit,
bogey.
yeah.
You can't find a par out there.
Yep.
And then you triple 17, and then you double bogey 18, and you're like,
But you
dude,
still win the group.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, dude, yeah, I shot like sub 90. I had a great day, but this could have been maybe a sub 80 round. Like, what the hell,
This
man?
back half sucked.
And then you're sitting there, you're having the post round beers with your friends, and everybody's laughing. You're like, dude, I guess I had a good time. Like, yeah, I guess I played all right, but I should have finished better. I started great. That's what that felt like.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how they're going to come into this next game. Is they're going to be motivated to just correct all of that and try to make it 2 first halves instead of that first and second half.
Well, it's human nature in these environments to, you get a big lead like that. It's hard to just stay locked in the entire time.
Yep.
But you're going to have to be locked in the entire time against Texas Tech. I don't think they're going to allow you to not be locked in the entire time because that is what lies ahead. So let's preview it. We got one last segment here on the Dick Henry Dealerships post-game scoreboard show. Let's talk about the future matchup that the Ducks have against Texas Tech on New Year's Day in the Orange Bowl in the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. We do that next, but first and our last traffic and weather update from Brandon, brought to you by Mods PDX.
Update on traffic around Autzen. Looks like the roads are finally clearing up around the stadium. Coburg, Memo K, Franklin all look clear. I-5 North is looking clear as well. Still a little bit of slow and go up in Albany. And a couple police cars still reported in the area. 45 degrees in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a high of 49 tomorrow with scattered showers. Ducks game day traffic and weather brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
That's the sound of a Portland winter. Not getting inside my house.
Most people think metal roofing sounds like a barn and a
Nixon is deep. Ball was blocked on the turf. Picked up and touchdown Oregon off the block punt. Lamar with a touchdown. Was that Purchase who blocked it? Wow.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Ducks win 51-34 over James Madison and will advance to the Orange Bowl where they will take on Texas Tech on New Year's Day, 9 o'clock kickoff. Our coverage on the Fan That will start at, I believe, 6 a.m.
Yeah, most likely.
We will have an abbreviated pregame show with Andy Dirt Johnson, jump into Jerry and Jorgie, and kick it down to them down in Miami. Dusty as well. He will be with them. And then Ducks will be right here on the Fan, 9 a.m., New Year's Day. So get trashed, have fun New Year's Eve. Make sure you're drinking some water and some Gatorade and some Pedialyte while you're doing it. So that way you're ready for kickoff, just like the Ducks are.
As
on New
a
Year's
BYU
Day.
alma mater who watched the Big 12 championship, that was a 9 a.m. kick. Make sure you got the alarm set because that game comes really, really fast.
Well, and thankfully out in Miami, obviously 3 hours ahead, so none of these Duckies are waking up that early. And I wonder what the curfew.
Oh, no, I was talking about everybody here.
No, I hear you. I'm just trying to translate it to the Oregon team. I wonder what the curfew is going to be on New Year's Eve for those guys, if they're going to get to watch the ball drop. It's going to be really hard to tell a bunch of 20-year-olds you can't watch the ball drop.
Well, you better. you better lock those hotel rooms. You better have security on every single hall, every single room of that hotel, so that way those boys are locked in and ready to go on New Year's Day. But yeah, huge game. Goodness. They're one of 3 teams to be back in the quarterfinals of the playoffs in this new 12-team format, and they're playing a great Texas Tech team. I can't wait, Jordan. This next week and a half, it is going to go by very slowly, but also very quickly. Before we know it, it will be game time.
I'm so excited, man. Oregon's offense should match up perfectly with Texas Tech's really good defense. It's going to make for an amazing game, and Texas Tech hadn't been that great on offense, so I think Oregon is going to win it, baby.
Yep. I sure hope they do. I cannot wait. It will be great. We will catch you all for that game. Come down to Grand Central Bowl for the watch party on New Year's Day, 9 a.m., and then me and Jordan will be hanging out after for the Dick Hanna Dealership post-game scoreboard show. For Jordan Schultz and Brandon Henson, I'm Joe Fisher. We will catch you guys in a week and a half for the Orange Bowl. Peace.
This has been the Dick Hanna post-game scoreboard show on the Fan.